What's going on, guys? We are Tottenham TV here with another big match preview, opposition preview for you guys today for the big North London derby at the Emirates on Sunday, 4:30. Who else to bring on but that dirty little bastard, Lee Judges, who's going to bring him on. Come on, Lee, bring Lee on. How are you doing, Lee? Lovely to have you on. Sorry, I had to bring it in. I had to get that in.
Do it again, that dirty Harry Kane.
Absolutely brilliant. Lee, I want to ask you about that moment, because that went a bit viral, obviously. Only a bit. Do you have seen Skullfuggery? He's been using that for a lot. I love Skullfuggery, absolutely brilliant videos. But what's like, when you look back at that moment, do you see if it's a bit of an overreaction? Do you feel it was justified? What do you think?
No, like, listen, it's just the moment of the game, isn't it? Like, you know, do you know what's funny about that? I've even said to Robbie, I want double money for this game, because this game, it's emotions that get you. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, things weren't going our way that day, so you're going to start to blame somebody, like, you know. So, and it was just happened that Harry Kane, he's got a little bit of history of doing that, and he done it to one of our players.
I know.
But, it's all fun and games. I've took a bit of stick for it from a lot of my Spurs mates and whatever, like, you know. But you know, it's banter, and you have to give it, you have to take it. So unfortunately, I had to take it for that one, like, you know.
It is. Well, yeah, look, I feel like it was a brilliant moment. I was absolutely loving how mad you're going at Harry Kane. But I thought, like, this whole Harry Kane narrative, I know he's done it to a few players, but I think every player does that. This backing into players and judging for headers. I don't think Kane's the only one. Do you know
what I don't like about Harry Kane, apart from that he scores every week? Is that, like, since he's become England captain, he feels he's got the right to chat to the referee. He's always in the referee's ear, like, trying to get play. And that wasn't him 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't him. It's just because I think the captaincy thing there, it's gone to his head a little bit. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Gone to his head?
Yeah.
Gone to his head. Come on, he's Harry Kane. This is Harry Kane. What do you mean gone to his head? He is,
I just don't like that about him. You know what I mean? If I was playing against him, I'd have to have a little word in his shell, like, because he's always looking into the referee, trying to get it his way and all that, like. And let's face it, you know, he does get a little bit more than most, because probably he is Harry Kane, England captain. You know what I mean? So
Vieira never spoke to the referee, did he? Vieira, he never got in the referee's face, did he?
I don't doing it like that. No.
Of course not. But Lee, looking to the game on Sunday, obviously Tottenham currently 7 points above. We're in 7th. You're in 10th at the moment. What are you looking for in the league? Like, obviously, 3 points. We're still kind of in that top 4 race. I would say Arsenal aren't so much in there at the moment.
Yeah.
Are all your eggs in the Europa League basket? Would you say?
Well, yeah, of course they've got to be. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that we can win this season, and you know, gets us to where, as a football club, that we want to be. You know, like, Spurs have got 2 avenues into it at the moment, like via the Champions League, and of course in the Europa League as well. I think, like, so we're going to have to do that. But that, I can tell you now, puts a little bit of pressure on things which you don't really need. I would rather be like, you know, a couple of years ago when we played Chelsea, they were already in the Champions League, so the pressure was off them a little bit going into that final, you know. So I think that from that point of view, I think that Arsenal, you know, we're in a transition period. We know that certainly things are starting to improve, but it's a very, very slower than what us Arsenal fans would like, if I'll be honest. But we seem to be going in the right direction. But ultimately now, you know, listen, where we come in the league, we're coming. You know, listen, if we come 15th and we win the Europa League, no one's going to really worry about it, like, you know. But if we come 15th and don't win the Europa League, then there's problems. So we still need to get as high as we can in the tables, and start building, you know, proving that we can get a run of games going, a bit of consistency. So we need to keep, you know, trying to win games. And listen, there's nothing bigger for us than Sunday now. It's always been a massive game. Is it one of the bigger games of North London history? I don't think so, but it's because obviously both of us have probably got one eye on Thursday and you know, like different different things. But for us, if we like the Spurs at this moment in time, whether they get top 4 or not is debatable. But I'll tell you what, if we can stop you on Sunday from winning, it will make us a little bit closer, make you a little bit closer to not getting Champions League, So that's an incentive to us.
You sound like the Spurs fan of the mid-90s and mid-noughties.
Yeah,
you do. That's what you sound like.
It's changed a little bit. Funny enough, just before I come in, I was just talking to one of my Spurs mates, and like he's a nice Spurs man. There's not many of you about, but he's a nice Spurs fan. He was saying, Tottenham have had the upper hand over it the last few years. Now I've known him like 30 odd years, and that's the first time he can really say it to me. I'm being genuine about it, but that's the fact. You know what I mean? Like, you've already beaten us this season, so that gives you a little bit of I always think that's a nice thing. We're just talking about that you've already got a win over us. So that just gives you that little bit of confidence, you know what I mean? Like if it's 1-1, you know what I mean?
We haven't done the double, though, against you since apparently the first ever Premier League season. So it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know what I mean? It's not, listen, beating Arsenal's not easy, is it? You know what I mean? Like, so... And listen, we've had the upper hand over the years.
5 unbeaten, though. We're 5 derbies unbeaten, I believe.
Is it 5 derbies? Is it?
Yeah, 5 derbies unbeaten.
Like, so it must be like a couple of draws. Is it 5 derbies?
Yeah, because you got since you beat us with Torreira, when Torreira scored that goal, you beat 4-2. Then we beat you a couple weeks later in the Carling Cup at the Emirates.
Oh, you're including that one as well, like you
of course, including all the including that. Yeah, come on, okay, take everything I can get.
So I mean, I think you got a couple of draws at the Emirates, and
yeah.
I think we drew at Wembley, didn't we? When Aubameyang should have
Aubameyang penalty, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to say how it is. You know what I mean? We've had to bite the bullet a little bit with you guys at the moment. So, but enjoy it while you can, because I can tell you that we're coming back. We're coming back.
Yeah, you you changed your tune. You're coming back. You're confident.
Not necessarily like about tomorrow and all that, but I think that we've got some good young players coming through at Arsenal. And if listen, this time last year, I didn't think Arsenal had anything to look forward to, but the youngsters coming through has give us a little bit of a boost. We've now got a couple of assets in the football club which we never had a year ago, like which Spurs probably did have. Now at the end of it, and if you'd have done the teams, like the 1-11 at the beginning, all those silly things that we do, like what we done last time, it was. I think it would have been a lot more Tottenham based, and which is probably. I'm not so sure now. I think that Arsenal probably would get them. Not too much in it now. Spurs, I think front 3 are firing, but they do look dodgy at the back. I've got to say that, like, you know what I mean. I don't think.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't mean this disrespectfully to both. I don't think if we put all of our defenders together, we'd get a top defensive unit out of them.
No, I don't think either. I don't think either.
Like, there's like very, very weak on the right side of fullback. I'm very, very strong on the left side of fullback, and then the central defenders.
Slim pickings.
Like he played well yesterday, but he's had a bit of a dodgy spell, so it's very difficult. And the goalkeepers is a difficult one as well. So I think that. One or two.
When it comes to our defense, I think we're more likely to make a slip, and you're more likely to just pass it to our striker. Probably that's probably how the game's going to go.
It's about 5-5. It'd be like, do you know, going like 5-4 game. We've all like that's the thing with Arsenal and Spurs at the moment. I don't confess to watch too many. I'll be honest. I watch Spurs when I think they're going to lose. And so I haven't watched them the last week, but I did watch the game against West Ham, and you just don't know what you're going to get with Spurs. I thought first half against West Ham were all so much better. Second half, a different Spurs team, So, and I'll tell you what'd be very interesting: what sort of way Spurs go about, because if they sit in and defend against us, then I think you beat us. But if you want to come and attack us, I think then we've got a chance. You know what I mean? Like in the last game at Tottenham, we just played into Mourinho's hands and the tactics of Spurs. I know like Spurs don't like that way of playing, but sometimes, you know, you have to do that. You know, they've been a little bit more open in the last few games. I don't whether they'll do that on Sunday. Let's hope that you do. Let's hope you do that.
You hoping we do? Yeah, it's been a bit of a debate for Spurs fans. By the way, before I get on to that, I'll just say you say you only watch Spurs when you think we're going to lose. Well, I pretty much do the same with Arsenal, which is why I watch you every week.
Oh yeah.
But when you get, yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal. Well.
I think there's been a bit of debate with the Spurs fan base in terms of how we want to approach this game, because we have been very offensive past couple weeks with performances against Burnley, Palace. We've been breathing past some scoring, but the way we played against you in November was quite successful. But we've also kind of come unstuck when playing against it. So I'm not 100% sure what Mourinho is going to do, but I feel if we do sit in, you are pretty much guaranteed to make mistakes at the back, like to gift us a goal. So we might get some joy. But do we want to stifle Bale, Son, Kane, and our forward players if we do sit too deep and give you too much encouragement? I don't know. It's difficult. If we do press you as well, you've seen under pressure you can buckle.
Yeah, and also under that same sort of style, we've opened up teams. You know, like Arsenal struggle this season. It's been like teams sitting against Arsenal. We struggle. Teams that come and play against us, we've been able to open them up. So, you know, if Tottenham do press us like that, I think, you know, yes, we've got that mistake in us to make that, but we've also got that ability to play it around and break through the lines. If Tottenham want to do that, then that's what I'm saying. Like, I hope you do that. I'll take the chance and take the gamble that we'll be able to get through. But I think, like in the game against White Hart Lane, we'd still be there now and we wouldn't have scored.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. With that tactic, you know. So that's the situation you got now. Tottenham's strengths are Arsenal's weaknesses if you play that way. Tottenham are very, very good at sitting down in teams on the break with those players. And Arsenal is just, you know, like it's like kryptonite to us. You know what I mean? We just can't handle it because we just don't know how to play that system. And that's why I was furious with the way Arteta went about it against you guys. He should have just sat and said, right, if you're sitting in, we're sitting in. We're just, you know, like see out a 0-0. But you know, there is a little bit more emphasis on us because we're at home this time. So it'd be that I think would be key. You know, it'd be a key thing on Sunday. I do feel that would be one deciding factor how Spurs go about it.
Last week, when you played Benfica, or a couple of weeks ago when you played Benfica, then Leicester, in quick succession, you kind of played your strongest team against Benfica, then rested a few players. You still got the result, fair play against Leicester, but you did rest a few players in that game. Do you see yourself doing something similar on Sunday, or do you think you're going to go with the same lineup that played against Olympiacos?
Do you know, I haven't got a clue. I ain't got a clue with Arteta. Just don't know what he's going to do. Just do not know what he's going to do. Now, what I would like to see is the same sort of performance like against Leicester, because we played really, really well that day. You know, Leicester, I think, could have gone second in the league, and we totally outplayed them. You know, we're comfortable. So that is your problem with being against us, is you just don't, you know, if Arsenal turn up, you know, you could be in trouble, but you just don't know if Arsenal are going to turn up, what Arsenal's going to turn up. But you know, same for us. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I don't even know what sorts. I don't honestly feel that Arteta knows what his best team is. I think Mourinho now is starting to realise that the front three is the front three. I think if you know, sat Mourinho down and spoke to him, I don't think he'd be able to tell what his best back four is. I still don't think that he knows, and I think that Mikel Arteta is in a position where he probably knows his best back four, but he don't know what his best front three are or his best midfield is. So that's the problems that. But I think both managers have probably got. I don't think Mikel trusts certain players in our team, and
he seems to trust David Luiz for some reason. I trust David Luiz to make a mistake. That's for
Well,
sure.
like, listen, that's the thing. Like, you know, I look at like David Luiz. You know, again, you don't know what you're going to get with him. He can be outstanding, you know, one game, and then you know, giving away the ball like he did yesterday in another. Listen, I tell you what, if he does that on Sunday to Harry Kane, it's a goal. Yeah, Harry Kane ain't missing those sort of chances, you know. So
Exactly.
I don't know if there's a little bit of arrogance with him, where he feels that because it's against lesser opposition, he can take the Mickey a little bit more. But if he certainly wants to do that against Harry Kane, he's going to come unstuck. So that's a gimme. So that is a problem, like, you know. And I don't like, you know, you say, you know, Bellerin, you know, done all right yesterday. He does all right all the time. Never like, you know, a little bit like Doherty, really. And you just don't know, and Aurier, you don't know what you're going to get. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So,
and at least with Doherty, I know he can throw the ball. He can put a throw in. I
well,
don't know about
yeah.
but better in practicing.
He's got to be able to defend as well, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So,
Not really, actually. I trust him. I trust more of him on throwing than I do defending. I don't trust Doherty at the back. I really hope we play Aurier. But in terms of Arteta, he seems to, at the moment, I don't know what the general consensus is around Arsenal fans about how well he's doing, but it seems to be he seems to have most fans on side for the time being. The knives aren't really out for him like they were maybe in December time. But if you sat an Arsenal fan down at the beginning of the season and said by March 12th or by March 12th you're going to be 10th in the table, you know, out of all the cups, and but in the Europa League last 16, like, what would you think they would have said? That would have been acceptable at the beginning of the season to be in that situation.
What do you think? What do you think?
I know the answer. I just want to get it from you.
Of course not. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. But look how quick. I'm not being horrible. How quick things change. You know, I think Spurs and Arsenal were level on points about 3 weeks ago. I know you had a game in hand, but you won those games in hand. You know, football can change very, very quickly. But listen, it's not been a good season for us. Even though I know we're in transition and everything like that, I didn't think we'd be as bad as what we have been. I honestly, you know, like the beginning of the season, we were, you know, like beginning before Christmas, we was poor. I'm telling you that now. Relegation was mentioned, and that's how poor we was. But since and this is where you Spurs fans got to stop being cocky, like, you know what I mean, like. And then till Boxing Day, when Chelsea come along and Chelsea thought that they was going to turn us over, like, you know what I mean, blah blah blah. From that game on, we haven't been as bad. We're just not. I think we're about the 4th or 5th best team in the league. If the league started, I know it's a stupid statement, but if the league started, then we'd be about 4th or 5th. So we're not as bad as what we were before pre-Christmas, but it's still not good enough for us. You know that. You know, like, yeah. You've been supporting Spurs long enough to know that, you know, that these games now, as a Spurs fan, and I talk to my Spurs mates and all that, like, you know, 10 years ago, you dreaded these games, but now you look forward to them.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I agree with that. But in terms of Arteta, like, is his job in danger in terms of what he needs to do from now to the end of the season to justify another season, or do you? You think he is?
Yeah, from a fan's point of view, do I think he's under pressure from the board? No, I think that he knows he's going to be there next season, whatever. I really do, like, you know. And listen, it's not acceptable for us to be where we are, 10th in the league. You know what I mean? We're you know, I'm not trying to be arrogant or cocky and all that. Like, we moved to the Emirates for bigger and better things, and when we left Highbury, we left that season as Champions League finalists. You know what I mean? So realistically, the drop from and I think this is the thing, you know, there's been a massive drop from Arsenal, and there's also been a massive upside from Tottenham, and that's why now it's like it is, you know, and that shouldn't have been the case. For whatever reasons, mismanagement or whatever. I don't think you can blame Mikel Arteta for that. So he's having to now repair that. And what I would say is it's a long rebuild. But when you look at it, you know, Spurs were in a worse position than us when Pochettino come along, and he changed it around pretty quickly. So, you know, we expect the same from Mikel. The only trouble with putting someone like Mikel Arteta in charge is that he's not got experience. There's no, you look at Mourinho, whether you love him or hate him or whatever. And listen, I know there's a lot of Spurs fans that are not keen on him, but he's experienced. So when you have a little blip like you did, he's been able to turn it around for whatever reason and put a few wrongs right. He has experience. And that's the one thing that Mikel doesn't haven't. So even like when you look back at the Benfica thing there, mistakes were made, but he got away with them. Mistakes were made yesterday, got away with them. But games when you play against the better teams and the teams with managers with a little bit more experience, he's getting found out a little bit, So we're giving it this year for that, but next year, he can't be making the same mistakes.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you've got a young, inexperienced manager kind of learning on the job, you're always going to have these downturns of form. It's just natural because he has to be able to work. He can't just, get it nail it on the head straight away. He's got to learn the job. And that's why. But do you not feel like a club like Arsenal, like with your history and your stature, like, shouldn't you be trying to appoint the best possible manager you can, not just a manager who can kind of fill in?
Well, yeah, exactly. Everybody wants, the best manager they possibly can. I think that Arsenal, for whatever reason, looked at it and they believe in him. The board, for whatever reason, believe in him. Listen, I never heard of Arsene Wenger before he come along, and look what happened there. So you've got to trust what they've given us and go from there. I've not been. What's the word I would really like? I've not been overexcited about getting Mikel Arteta. I wouldn't have been overexcited if I got Mourinho, if I'll be honest. Thank God we didn't. But
thank God you didn't. One of the best managers of all time.
I think he's a good manager because of what he's done, but I don't think he's, for me, not the sort of manager I want running my football club. And as much as great as Man United are, they've got that stain on it because I think the way he goes about things, the way because he's Mourinho, he's just not. He's not for me. He's not a well-liked person. And listen, I can tell you this now: you Spurs fans,
you hate him if he's against you. You love him if he's for you. Trust me. If Mourinho was Arsenal manager, you would be loving him.
You say that. There's a lot of Man United fans that when he was with him can't stand him and detest him, and he won a couple of trophies for them. I guarantee you now, as I'm sitting here, within 2 years, he will not be the manager of Tottenham now, whether he's won trophies or not. Because once you've won trophies, right, because the desperation for Tottenham to win a trophy, once that's out of the way,
that's his remit. His remit is to win trophies. He will love him if he does that.
And then you'll get rid of him. Like Man United. Man United, I think didn't tolerate so much. And this is nothing again. And I'm not having a go at Spurs when I say it. They've won trophies and won titles and everything like that. And they'd had enough of him. And I think it will come to a stage where that will happen with Spurs. There's a lot of Spurs fans out there, and I'll tell you that now, that do not like him and do not even want him at the club now. And this is, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that don't want Arteta. It's the way football is, I suppose. Everybody wants it done right. But
I think Mourinho, his reputation precedes him a lot. Mourinho, I think a lot of Spurs fans are on side of him. I like him. I like Mourinho. Like Mourinho. I've got no problem with him.
At the end of the season, say let's pray that it does from our point of view. You don't win nothing. Would you be happy for him to go through another season like you've gone with the football you're playing to get that chance for a trophy, or would you like to go down the route where you was?
If we don't win nothing and we don't get top four, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, go on then. We'll say that then. Like at the moment, you've got a chance of winning the League Cup. I think you've got a very good chance of winning the League Cup, because Manchester City, I don't think you'd beat Man City for the league or over a couple of games, but one-off game, anything can happen, as you well know. So there's a chance. But I honestly think, and I'm only going what a few of my Spurs mates saying all that. Like, if you don't get top four and you don't win a trophy, let's hope this happens, right? With the style of football that you've played, I think a lot of fans will turn on him. Yeah, I do.
Look, I think if we don't get top four or win a trophy, then he hasn't filled the remit that he's required, to be honest. Depends. If we get to like Europa League final and we finish fifth and it's all very tight, it's like a few margins. And I think maybe in context, you might give him another season. But if we're like eighth and we lose in like a semi-final and we lose the cup final, then yeah, his job has to be under question for sure. But I think he is turning it around. And I'm a big fan of Mourinho. I think he's doing a good job with the squad at the moment. Despite the fact we went for a horrific patch of league form, I still think I'm backing him completely. I think his reputation at Man United, I think he's done the best job at Man United post Fergie. No one's done better than him. At Chelsea, he won the league, even though he got sacked the second time. He still won the league. Everyone just glosses over the fact he won the league as if that was like a non-achievement. He did do that, and I think a lot of the time, Mourinho, because he's very outspoken in the media and you know he can be very honest with his opinions and stuff. People like his reputation can precede him a lot. And in terms of sitting back all the time, people just think he plays defensive football. I mean, we scored over 100 goals this season. That's not just sitting back all the time. So
the play on the counter attack and all that. But I'll tell you what will happen at Spurs, right? And I'll tell you what will happen at Spurs. The Spurs players will get fed up with him and all, because when everything goes well, it's all about him, and when it's not going well, he'll dig out players.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen with every manager. Every manager who gets sacked, that's what happens. They get sacked because it goes badly. It happened. And the Pochettino, apparently they got fed up with Pochettino. It doesn't mean he's a toxic manager or something.
No. Well, whatever happened with Tottenham with Pochettino, that's you know, like whatever, and like that, I think is, you know, like will go down in Spurs history as one of the biggest mistakes that they've ever done. But that's my opinion. Like, you know, I mean, potentially, what I'm saying is like I've seen what he deals with, what he's like, and whatever. Like, if I was in a dressing room and when I think Liverpool lost to some team, and that Jurgen Klopp come out and said, "Oh, it's all my fault. I've done this, I've done that." You'd want to play for him. When Mourinho come out against some, I think it was against Liverpool, he got it all wrong that night. Tactically, everything. Liverpool were there for the taking. He picked the wrong team. He done this and done that. And he come out, instead of coming out and saying, "Do you know what? I messed up today." He come out and he started blaming players. Players will get fed up with that. Trust me.
Well, he can point to what he's won in the game compared to what this Spurs squad has won and say, this is the way we need to move forward, and you have to trust me. And I think the players shouldn't really have an excuse to really say, I know better than you. When look at what Mourinho's won in the game.
No, 100% agree. But when a manager makes a mistake, own up to it. And everybody, even Mourinho, makes mistakes. He made a mistake against Liverpool. I watched that game and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then, you know, and I'll tell you what was great about that was I come back home. I was in London. I was coming back after the game, and on the radio, the Spurs fans were in meltdown about it. We're absolutely meltdown about it. That was only 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, not long ago.
That's how football can change. So let me tell you this now. That was after Liverpool game 3 weeks ago, and there was a meltdown about the man, and it will happen again.
Well, maybe after a few trophies, hopefully. After a few trophies, hopefully.
Which won't be within the next 2 years, and we'll talk about it, like, yeah. And I'll go. I'll say he's won a few trophies. He's done his job, and now he can leave. Let's see. Lee, what's your prediction for Sunday? I think it'd be a tight game. I think there'd probably be a draw, if I'll be honest.
Draw.
I think that both teams will go for it. I think a little bit more on this game. I think I know it sounds silly, like, you know, talking about Mourinho. I think it'd be silly to go back to that defensive ways. I think if he went back to those defensive ways and lost, again, people would be going mad at him. So I think he'd go for it a little bit, and I think it'd be a 2-2 or a 1-1. I think it'd be a good game, though. I do. I really do.
I think so. I went for 3-2 Spurs in my prediction in my preview. I think there could be a lot of goals in this. I feel like Arsenal with a bit of pressure off, knowing that there's not much in it for them in the league. I think they're going to go for the win. I don't think they're going to look for a point in this one, Arsenal. And I think Spurs should have the firepower to hurt you.
I think that's a very good point. That Arsenal have not probably got as much pressure on them in this game, so they can probably. Where Tottenham, as you say, potentially still in with a chance of top four, and need to, if they're going to get top four, Spurs, they need to win. So that could go in our favour. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows?
Apparently, Arsenal have 3 wins in the past 15 derbies.
Against who? You?
Yeah, against us.
3, is that all?
3 in the last 15, apparently.
Blimey.
It's a good note to end on, I think. But Lee,
that ain't a good note to end on. Like, is that genuine? There must be a lot of draws in that. There must be a lot of draws in there.
I think there's a lot of draws, but I think Spurs have more.
Exactly. So how many turn that around? Like, how many Spurs wins have been in that?
I'm not sure how many Spurs. I'm not sure how many Spurs wins there have been in that, but I know there's been more than Arsenal wins.
Come on here with the kindness of my heart, and you then dig it like the other way, like, you know what I mean? So, there's always been listen, Arsenal and Spurs, listen, when Arsenal were very, very dominant, it was never a foregone conclusion that we'd beat Spurs, you know what I mean? Let's get this right, you know what I mean? So there was always times when I remember when we was at our very, very best, we went to White Hart Lane and got draw, only got draws, So and I always used to say, beat you at home, draw away, I'll take that, So
it's 6 wins. It's 6 wins for Spurs in the last 15.
Yeah.
And so 3 for Arsenal.
You little rascal, like saying that.
And what about Bale? Wait. Let's talk about Bale quickly before we leave, because Bale is coming into form again. Is that something you're worrying about? What do you think of Bale? Do you think he's really coming back into form? Do you, from an Arsenal perspective, are you just saying that it's against Palace, against Burnley, is that what you're taking hope with, or are you scared of him coming into the game?
Nah, not. Listen, Gareth Bale's a fantastic player for Spurs and Real Madrid over the. I just think, and this is what I feel is that probably like his body's giving up. He's struggling with his body a little bit, like the Premier League and everything, but still a player that you can't take liberties with. He's nowhere near the player that he was, But like in saying that, he's probably the best or in the top 3 players in the world at one stage. I remember going watching him in the Euros for Wales. He was sensational.
Yeah.
Absolutely sensational. So him, Ramsey were incredible. Obviously, it was Arsenal player and a Spurs player, so it was a lot of interest for the Welsh when they was doing that in the Euros. And them 2 players were incredible. But Gareth Bale was on a different planet. I just feel that injuries have just took his toll a little bit with him. Otherwise, I still believe he'd still be at Real Madrid if he was fully flying. But I think that unfortunately he might play another 3 or 4 games for Tottenham and he'll break down his body and all that. But still a fantastic player, still a player that you've got to respect. And I think it was the goal, was it? I did see the goal in the Europa League, and when he cut back and left, the player went out, went and got out to go and buy a ticket to get back in. Give credit that whether that's against a poor side or not. It was incredible skill. So he's still got it. I don't think he can do it over the whole 90, but he's still a top player. And I think listen, the front 3 of Tottenham have got are a class act. There's no 2 ways about it. Like, whether you like it or you don't. I can't stand Harry Kane and I can't stand Song. Why can't I stand them? Because I don't know them personally. It's just that they're doing the business, aren't they? So, and I don't like that, and that's the way to think. But I think there's a grudging. You admire Harry Kane like probably you did with Henry. You can't because he's a Spurs player. Some of the things that he's been doing this, I think he's been better this season than he probably has for the last couple. If I'll be honest,
I agree. Taking on a new level, I feel Harry Kane.
Yeah, he's added something. Say like added to his game. That's the wrong thing to say, but he's got the assist. But he can. It's not just his goals that are damaging teams now. So I think he's a good player. Like, the front 3 of Tottenham are as good as anything in the Premier League and in Europe. So we've got to stop that. And Gareth Bale is part of that.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think Bale, he's starting to turn it on. Maybe injuries have caught up with him, but he's now level on Premier League goals with Bukayo Saka, who's probably your player of the year. So it can't be that bad.
No, is that right? Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's right.
that's all Premier League goals. Is that all Premier League
Premier
goals?
League goals. If we're talking goals in all competitions, Bale's on 10. Is Saka on 10?
I don't know how many Saka's got. Like, you know what I mean? I tell you what, the weakest part of Saka's game is his goal scoring. If I'll be honest, you know, other than that, I've got to say, and I'm not saying it because I'm biased at Arsenal, because I've just given Harry Kane a lot of praise. But Saka is one of the best young kids that I've seen play for a very, very long while. Very, very long while. But, you know, I'm not going to go overboard about him because, you know, you've got to do it year in, year out. Look at Dele Alli was fantastic for a couple of years, and it's sort of gone a little bit south for him now. So, but at this moment in time, you know, I'd rather have Saka than Gareth Bale, if I'll be honest. But you can have Gareth Bale for a year. You can have him for a year.
I'll take him. Lee, it's been a pleasure having you on as always.
No problem. Enjoy it.
I enjoy the game on Sunday. I certainly hope I will be. I'll be looking forward to any of your reactions if we score. That's for sure.
I'll certainly be looking at yours and all that. I just want to say that the West Ham reaction, it was absolutely fantastic. Don't you stop doing that. Don't worry about that, mate.
Brilliant.
It's always it's the one sad thing. There's no fans in there for these games, but I will say that Arsenal and Spurs, I'm very much like, I've got family that support Spurs. I've got a lot of my mates are Spurs and all that. Like, I just wish that the North London derby could be a little bit more nicer than what it is these days. You know, there's a definite underlying feeling there, and it's a shame really, because, you know, I've gone to Arsenal Spurs games, and a couple of my mates are across the road. You can't go and say hello to them, you know, and things like that. I would like that to, you know, the rivalry. I love it all, and the banter, you know, is you don't get it with any other team, you know. But there is that underlying thing with Tottenham and Arsenal now. Hopefully, with the fans not being there, fans can realise that that they've been missed, and it would be nice to go over to Spurs. And feel like you're safe, you know what I mean? Like to talk to your Spurs mates and whatever, like, and vice versa, like, you know. So hopefully that's something that both sets as supporters can do, and it's great. Like, you know, I talk to you guys and expressions and all that, like, and I have good banter with everything, like, you know, like me and my brother now will be we won't talk to each other now for at least a week now. Like we said what we've got to say, and then we move on, like, you know. So that's how it is. So hopefully it'll be a good game, and we'll all enjoy it.
Looking forward to it. And Lee, cheers for coming on as always. Nice one, Lee. All right.
Now, as always, all right, all you Spurs fans, have a lovely Saturday. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll have a lovely Sunday as well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.